Hi, welcome back to Springfield Arms. You with Zahir on my podcast, Guns and Coffee. We've been getting some fantastic comments in the comment section on Facebook with regards to my last little video that I put up. The question was a better gun than the Glock 19. And yes, I showed the Glock 48 as personally, my opinion, being a better carry firearm in the Glock range than the Glock 19. But it's fantastic to see the comments that are coming through. Everybody's got their personal opinion on what is the best firearm out there. It's subjective. It's really like looking at the way people talk about cars these days. You take the A3 Audi, the 3 Series BMW, or the C-Class Mercedes. I put it to you, which is the best of the three? Okay, so we start talking about soccer and we say Man United and Liverpool, which is the best team, etc. I'm just kidding. So what we're looking at today is a couple of my Glock favorites in the range at the moment. And we've had a lot of questions about what's a Glock 48, what's a Glock 43X, etc., etc. And I thought I'll just show you a couple of the options out there at the moment. Let's start off with the Glock 48. So I did speak about the Glock 48. As per normal, firearm is empty. The Glock 48 really is a scaled down version of the very popular Glock 19. The Glock 48 is a slimline version of the Glock 19. It takes 10 rounds in the magazine. The reason why Glock brought out the Glock 48 primarily was for the American market. There are certain states in America that are restricted to 10 rounds in a magazine, in a pistol. One of the states is California. California is a big state in America. So Glock really focused on those states in America that have round count restrictions. So they managed to slim down this pistol really, really nice. So you've got the full profile of the Glock 19 in terms of the barrel length as well as the grip length amid the 10 round magazine. As I said previously, there are aftermarket magazines which are 15 rounds in capacity that fit flush with the Glock 48, and I think that's quite brilliant. It's got the regular controls of your Glock and it feels really good in the hand. The other option in the Glock range that we're looking at is also a single stack option. It's called the Glock 43X. Okay, so if you look at the profile of the Glock 43X, it's really a scaled down version of the Glock 48. You've got the same length of the handle, 10 rounds in the mag, but a shorter barrel, much more concealable than what you'd find on the Glock 48. So it's a trimmed down, slimmed down version of the Glock 48. The Glock 43X really came about when Glock brought out its single stack Glock 43, which is a 6-round capacity firearm. If you look at the Glock 43, slightly shorter there and on the barrel, it's a 6-round gun. And so what they've done now is they've got 10 rounds in the mag in a very concealable package. Year 2, you're able to put a 15-round mag in a Glock 43X, which makes for a formidable carry firearm. Granted, the smaller you go with the Glock range in terms of barrel length and size, naturally your recoil impulse is going to be a bit more than what you find on your mid-size and full-size firearms. So that's got to be taken into consideration. However, in terms of concealability, carryability, and the way it sits on your person, I think it's a good option to look at, especially for people with smaller hands or looking for a low-profile carry firearm. So that's your Glock 43X. Most of these options now come with what we call MOS compatibility, which is your modular optic sight system. In other words, for those of you that have bad eyesight or are looking for a different option outside of your fixed sight, you can go with a red dot that gets fitted on top of your MOS Glocks. Okay, so that's your Glock 43X. Quite nice, feels good in the hand as well. Moving on, most people recognize this piece of hardware, and this is a Glock 19 Generation 3. So when we talk about Generation 3, Generation 4, Generation 5, what are we really speaking about? We're speaking about changes that Glock had made over the years with various generations of that particular firearm. For example, the Generation 3 had the finger grooves. It didn't have the ambidextrous slide release. There were other changes that Glock made with Gen 4 and Gen 5, but this is the Gen 3, and it's been around a long time, at least 15 years now in the market. It's proven itself. I would say most of the for example, the NYPD, 60% of them are still using the Generation 3 Glocks. Over 50,000 of them have been sold in East Coast of America alone in terms of the police departments. So it's a battle-proven, well-documented firearm that I think is still being produced because of how popular and reliable they are. So there are people that do prefer the way the Glock 19 Gen 3 feels over the 4 and 5. It doesn't make the Gen 3 an inferior firearm than the 4 and 5. The advantage of the Gen 3 is, of course, pricing. If you're looking at a Gen 5, you're probably looking around 14,000 Rand, plus minus. When you're looking at a Gen 3, you could get a Gen 3 for under 11 grand. Anywhere from 10,500 to about 11,000, and I think that's fantastic value for a pistol that really fits most hands well. Unless you have abnormally large hands or bigger hands, you'd find that the Gen 3 would fit your hands very, very nice. Comes with two 15-round mags. This is what we call the limited edition olive drab two-tone. In other words, you've got your black slide and you've got the olive drab army green. Okay, I think it's quite nice. If you're looking for a Glock, this would be the sweet spot at the price range of under 11K. The nice thing about the Glock 19 is that you could also use all the 9mm high capacity mags in the Glock range. It's compatible with the Glock 19. That's a Glock 19 Gen 3. Moving on to the latest version of 9mm Glocks in Gen 5 would be the Glock 45. So the Glock 45 was really the last Glock in the Gen 5 series in 9mm that came out. And what they did with the Glock 45 is that they gave you a full-size frame. In other words, the bottom half here is a Glock 17 essentially. So you got 17 rounds in the magazine, and they shortened the slide. So they took a Glock 19 slide, so you've got that barrel length with a full-size grip. Especially for people that have bigger hands and they found that they wanted something with a bit of a bigger grip, Glock brought out the Glock 45. The Glock 45 is really an adaptation of the Glock 47, which is not available to civilians. Glock 47 being used currently by the FBI. And what the Glock 47 really is essentially a Glock 45 with an external safety. Not available in South Africa. However, this is the exact same gun that is used by the FBI. They also use Glock 19, but the Glock 47, Glock 45 is essentially the same gun as the Glock 47. What's nice about the Glock 45, personally, is that you've got the high capacity of 17 rounds in a magazine, but you've got the shortened slide. It makes for what I feel a good balanced firearm. Most polymer firearm guns, like the Glock, when they are unloaded, they tend to feel a bit top heavy because of the lightness of the flame. But once the firearm is loaded, and you can come out and test it here at Springfield Arms and you'll get an idea of what it really feels like, you'll get to see that it's really quite balanced when loaded. So that's the Glock 45, comes with two 17-round mags. Once again, you can go up to 40 rounds in this type of pistol. I think this makes for a nice high capacity carry firearm, home defense as well, the Glock 45. The other firearm that often gets questioned quite a bit is this piece of hardware, and this is the Glock 19X. So the Glock 19X essentially is exactly the same size as the Glock 45. What makes it different? A little bit about the Glock 19X. Glock 19X came out before the Glock 45. Essentially, in this particular color, as it was requested by the US military as one of the requirements when they moved from the Beretta 92 and were looking for a new firearm for the US Army. As you know or don't know, the current firearm for the US military now is the SIG P320. SIG won the contract. Does it mean SIG is the best firearm in the world? No, there were various factors that were involved, cost, etc. in the whole process. But anyway, SIG won the contract. That's why you'll find firearms like the SIG M17 is the military submission gun that SIG submitted. This is Glock submission. For that trial, it was called the Glock 19X. Glock didn't win it, but the gun is available for sale to the public. What does the Glock 19X have that your Glock 45 does not have? Well, firstly, the color. Not to everybody's taste, but it is, it is what it is there. In terms of the sights, one of the big differences is it gives, the Glock 19X gives you not the regular plastic Glock sights, but you've got the metal sights, which are luminous. So you will get visibility in the evenings or low light conditions. The dots light up. So you've got the luminous sights there from Glock, and they're metal, not plastic. The other thing that the 19X gives you is a lanyard loop. Most law enforcement agencies, military, etc., want the lanyard loop for weapon retention. So you attach your lanyard loop there and it sits in the holster. Okay, it can be removed. Okay, so that's not a problem. One of the nice things about the 19X is that you've got a 17 round magazine, okay, and 2 additional mags, which are 19 rounds. In other words, flush fit 17 with 2 additional 19 round mags, which has a shoe there at the bottom, high capacity. So you can carry 19 plus 1, that's 20 rounds, okay? So that's the Glock 19X. Feels pretty much the same as the Glock 45. Now, just to dispel a few myths about the Glock 19 before I wrap this up and take too much of your time, if you take a look at this drawing here, people say, or this picture, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to explain to you something very, very simply. People say, the Glock is not safe because it doesn't have an external safety. Remember, your safety is your finger. That's it. The firearm will be as safe as you are. All right. So Glock actually was, they were called Glock safe action pistols because Glock had 3 safeties. 3. One is on the trigger. So the little lever there in front that you see there is a safety mechanism. Okay, once you depress that and pull the trigger, it will then deactivate 2 other safeties internally. One being the firing pin safety and the other a drop safety. The long and short of it is that this firearm will not fire once loaded unless you pull the trigger. Now that might sound arbitrary, but it's a fact, all right? And the reason why people find Glocks not safe is because they're not confident about their trigger fingers or they're not confident about their safety, okay? So please understand that it's just a different type of safety mechanism than having an external safety on the side. So we can, people have their opinions and preferences on that, but it's wrong to say that, the Glock is less safe than a firearm that has an external safety. Okay, so that basically is a little bit about the Glocks that I've taken out for today, that we have in stock as well here at Springfield Arms. If you're looking for any assistance on a license package, start to finish with a firearm, we have packages available on all these firearms that I've shown you and more. Please give us a call on 031-263-0379. Pop us a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll gladly assist you and make sure that you select the right firearm for you. In closing, understand that there are really no bad new firearms out there, okay? Most guns that are sold today, brand new, are generally good firearms. What is the best firearm is going to be what fits your hand comfortably, what fits your body type comfortably. You're able to conceal it, it's comfortable on your person, and what's comfortable for your pocket. In other words, your budget. Have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Come visit us sometime. I'm out of here. Keep punching. Bye.